As the discussions continue about fixing problems with the unemployment system, we're furthering our commitment to taking action for those of you still struggling because of that system a year later. This time last year, millions of Floridians were suddenly out of work. And the flood of unemployment claims overwhelmed a broken system that we now know was in need of tens of millions of dollars in repairs. I-Team investigator Kyla McGivern has been digging into this issue from the very beginning. And new tonight, she brings us an emotional check-in of where people are now. And that includes hope and the hard realities.
The fall.
There's a lot of people that still haven't gotten any money.
We're going to lose everything.
I lost hope.
The rise.
All my credit cards are paid. My rent's caught up. I don't want anybody to give up.
The failures that persist.
It's like the state doesn't care to even respond on what we're supposed to do next. And that's why I called you.
A year ago, we met Tanya Olson.
The working people of Florida are being just hung out to dry.
A physical therapist out of work without a penny coming in for 7 weeks.
I started posting my daily diary of disappointment.
Tanya took to Twitter. Day 71, no change, no deposit, site crashes, disconnected, error page.
I wanted it in public record that this was not working.
A recently released report from the state's inspector general finding Deloitte, the company behind the state's unemployment site Connect, only tested the system for around 4,200 users, not 200,000 users at the same time like the state contract required. DEO received more than 228,000 applications, more than the population of Tallahassee, the week ending March 28, 1 year ago. At least those were the applications that actually made it through at that time.
How would you describe that community and where does life stand now?
Yeah, it's, just thinking back on, I don't know what I would have done without people such as yourself who chose to speak for those of us who felt like we had no voice. I can't tell you how many people offered to send me money for groceries when I know for a fact that they didn't have money to share. There's been at least a dozen people who reached out to me who were suicidal. At least a dozen people. This is the emotional burden that has been thrust upon us by the people who have chosen not to act.
There's need to address some of the infrastructure in our own agencies, including the Connect reemployment system.
Governor Ron DeSantis now recommending the state spend millions more, $73.2 million in federal coronavirus relief dollars to upgrade Connect. Improving the unemployment system Olson once spent up to 6 hours a day trying to access before eventually receiving her benefits 3 months later. In this email, after a year.
It took a year for the DEO to respond to an email that I sent for a PIN reset. A year.
Richard Ross first emailed us back in May, 7 weeks after he was let go due to the pandemic, saying he and his wife were running low on money and that he really needed the unemployment checks.
Richard, what do you think when you hear back your own words from that time and that mindset?
It's very discouraging.
After regaining employment, Ross was let go for a second time due to COVID-19.
I don't want to be here. I don't want to be at home with a wife that's disabled, and I'm the only person with an income, and now I'm dependent on the state and the government, and they can't even guarantee that I'm going to see my payments on time. Who do you turn to? I mean, really, who do you turn to?
Ross, like thousands of others over the last year, ended up turning to ABC Action News for help to get the attention of DEO.
We have sent the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity the names and information of more than 22,000 people.
And everything is going to be clear and going back to normal.
Did you feel like you were getting more information from journalists than DEO?
Yes, tremendously.
While Ross is receiving payments today, he worries about the unknowns ahead. Navigating a system, he says, makes it just as difficult to get answers now as it did 12 months ago.
You waste 2-3 hours of time to get no answer, and that's very, very frustrating.
After a year of scars turning to strength, Olson shared this.
You are not alone. That you are not alone. It's the resilience of the human spirit and the power of connection to get you through what you didn't know that you'd be able to get through is probably what I'm reflecting on the most now. And I'm grateful. Oh.
A year into the pandemic, we have now sent the names and information of more than 26,000 Floridians to the state's unemployment office. People out of work, desperate for payments. We see you, we hear you, and we are continuing to press for answers. If you still need help collecting your unemployment, we have a form for you to fill out now at abcactionnews.com. I'm I-Team investigator Kylie McGivern, taking action for you.